Reaching 61 and beyond is a gift that invites us to pause and embrace a new way of living. At this stage, we've learned that real happiness isn't found in collecting more, but in releasing what no longer serves us. Throughout our lives, we've gathered obligations, possessions, and expectations, often hoping they'd bring satisfaction. Yet, they can feel like heavy baggage. Now, more than ever, it's time to set that weight down. Life has taught us that fulfillment comes not from more, but from less. It's about clearing out what's unnecessary and focusing on what genuinely matters. This phase of life brings freedom, a chance to live lighter, unburdened by the demands of the past. We no longer need to meet others' expectations or wear masks. Instead, we can be fully ourselves without apologies. With time, we realize that joy is often found in simple moments and small pleasures. We're invited to look inward, asking, what truly matters? Letting go of what holds us back opens the door to a life filled with calm, happiness, and meaning. Today, let's dive into 9 aspects of life that we can leave behind after 61. By releasing these, we create space for more peace, more joy, and a life lived with lightness and grace. The first thing we release as we age is the heavy weight of other people's opinions. For so long, we might have bent and adjusted ourselves, hoping to fit into the spaces others had shaped for us. Pleasing others, winning approval, even living up to expectations. These things often guided us, pressing us to sacrifice bits of ourselves in exchange for acceptance. Yet, as we reach a certain point in life, perhaps around the age of 61, we start to see these efforts as burdens rather than accomplishments. We come to recognize that the value of approval fades as we grow more attuned to what truly brings us peace. This shift is liberating. We reach a point where we understand that everyone views life through their own lens. The opinions others hold often have little to do with us, and everything to do with their own experiences, their own fears, and their own hopes. Trying to fit into each person's unique perspective only pulls us away from our true essence. We realize that ultimately, no amount of adapting will satisfy everyone, and the constant strain of attempting to do so only leads us further from our authentic selves. Accepting this truth allows us to step back and see the freedom in living for ourselves, not for others. Living authentically, according to our own beliefs, becomes a conscious choice. We find ourselves gradually caring less about judgment and more about our inner peace. This choice to live by our own values and beliefs is not about rebellion. It's about embracing who we are without apology. With every passing year, the need to meet others' expectations falls away, replaced by a deep desire to stay aligned with what feels right to us. We allow ourselves to move forward with clarity and ease, no longer feeling the pressure to please or conform. Here are 5 more actions you can integrate into your daily routine to strengthen the habit of living authentically, free from the influence of others' opinions. 1. Create a daily journal entry of self-expression. Set aside a few minutes each evening to journal your thoughts, feelings, and reflections without filtering yourself. Write freely about what made you feel most like yourself, what you valued in your actions, and where you felt true to your own beliefs. This unfiltered journaling process builds self-trust and helps you see patterns of authenticity in your life, reinforcing your commitment to living according to your own values. 2. Practice saying no when necessary. Throughout the day, make a conscious effort to say no when asked to do something that doesn't align with your values or feels like it compromises your peace. Start with small boundaries, declining a minor favor or an activity you're uninterested in. Saying no without guilt is a powerful practice for maintaining authenticity, reminding you that your time and energy are valuable and should be spent in alignment with what feels right to you. 3. Engage in a daily moment of silence or meditation. Carve out 5 to 10 minutes each day to sit in silence or meditate. Use this time to tune into your own thoughts and feelings without outside input. Let this practice be a sanctuary where you're free from external influences, helping you reconnect with your inner voice. As you do this regularly, you'll become more attuned to what truly matters to you, strengthening your ability to stay true to yourself throughout the day. 4. Practice authenticity in conversations. Make a conscious effort to be genuine in your conversations. Express your opinions and feelings honestly, even if you worry about differing from others. This could mean gently sharing your true preferences or offering a unique perspective on a topic. This daily practice of honest communication may feel challenging at first, but it strengthens your confidence to speak from the heart, reinforcing your habit of living according to your own values. 5. Celebrate small wins of authenticity. Each day, find one small way to celebrate a choice or action that felt authentically you. This can be as simple as acknowledging that you dressed in a way that reflects your style, chose an activity you truly enjoy, or shared an opinion that felt honest. Recognize and savor these moments of authenticity, letting them fill you with a sense of accomplishment and self-respect. Over time, these small acts of celebration make living authentically a positive and deeply rewarding habit. This release brings a rare, profound lightness to our lives. By letting go of the fear of judgment, we open a door to a simpler, truer way of being. We live with peace in our hearts, knowing that our choices reflect what truly matters to us. We see that, at last, we can step into each day carrying only what is essential: our values, our truths, and the quiet joy of living authentically. This freedom is a gift, one that comes not from seeking approval, but from knowing ourselves fully and embracing that self without reservation. The second thing to release in our journey toward fulfillment is any activity that no longer brings us genuine satisfaction. Often, we find ourselves engaged in routines and habits we formed long ago, continuing them not out of joy, but out of habit. These actions can quietly lose meaning over time, yet we hold on to them simply because they've always been there. But now, with decades of experience and self-awareness, we have the unique opportunity to reflect on these patterns with a new perspective. After 61, we are in a prime position to pause, assess, and determine if these long-held activities still contribute to our happiness and well-being. It's a refreshing realization. We're not obligated to spend time on things that don't light us up or make us feel whole. Our routines, whether they involve social commitments, hobbies, or even daily rituals, deserve to be questioned from time to time. We free up valuable time and energy that can be reinvested in activities that bring genuine joy. This letting go isn't about cutting ties with everything familiar, but rather about honoring our right to evolve. What made us happy in our 30s or 40s may not bring the same spark today, and that's perfectly okay. Our passions, like us, change and grow with time. At this stage, every decision to release an outdated habit is a step toward a lighter, more intentional life. Imagine shedding unnecessary layers, creating space for pursuits that align with who we are now. Maybe it's the joy of learning something entirely new, or diving back into a passion we set aside years ago. We pave the way for a vibrant, purpose-driven life. This isn't just a shift in how we spend our time. It's an affirmation of the value we place on our well-being. We are choosing to live not merely by default, but with curiosity, intention, and joy. Life after 61 can become a powerful journey of rediscovery and fulfillment. We're free to pursue what excites us and brings us a deep sense of contentment. Each small step toward letting go brings us closer to a life where each moment is meaningful, where our days are filled with activities that make us feel truly alive. Now is the time to live with purpose, savoring every experience that warms our hearts. The third thing we must let go of is the burden of unnecessary social obligations. Over the years, many of us find ourselves saying yes to events, gatherings, and invitations that don't genuinely fulfill us. Often, these commitments are driven by habit, politeness, or the feeling that we should be there. How often have we gone somewhere reluctantly, just to avoid disappointing others or appearing rude? By the time we reach a certain age, we gain the wisdom to question these routines. Life is far too short to spend time on events that don't bring us joy or value. Releasing ourselves from these pressures allows us to live with a renewed sense of freedom and focus. As we grow older, we realize that our time and energy are precious. We no longer need to attend out of guilt or obligation. Saying no becomes an act of self-respect, allowing us to reclaim our days for what truly matters. It's empowering to recognize that we can choose where to invest our time, giving ourselves permission to prioritize our own happiness without needing to justify it to anyone. This shift isn't about isolating ourselves. It's about creating space for the connections and experiences that nurture us. Every no becomes a statement that we value our own well-being and deserve to be selective with our time. By letting go of empty social obligations, we give ourselves room to be fully present in the connections that genuinely fulfill us. When we say yes out of choice rather than duty, we bring a deeper authenticity to our relationships. The quality of our presence shifts, and those around us feel it too. Our presence becomes a gift rather than a gesture of politeness or routine. Every encounter, every conversation gains new meaning because we are there wholeheartedly, undistracted by the feeling that we should be somewhere else. This intentional approach transforms social interactions from obligations to sources of joy and genuine connection. Choosing how we spend our time is a gift we give ourselves, a gift that enriches our lives with purpose and peace. By setting boundaries, we prioritize moments and people that align with our values, creating a life that feels true to who we are. This freedom to choose, without apology, deepens our sense of fulfillment and allows us to experience life more richly. In every mindful choice, we craft a life that resonates with purpose, bringing us closer to what truly matters. This journey of saying yes only to what nourishes us and no to what doesn't is a profound step towards living in harmony with ourselves and with others. Here are 5 expert-backed strategies to help us release unnecessary social obligations and focus on meaningful connections. 1. Practice mindful reflection after each commitment. Experts in mindfulness suggest reflecting on how we feel after attending social events. Clinical psychologist Dr. Shauna Shapiro recommends a brief self-check-in following each gathering. Did it leave us feeling uplifted or drained? This mindful reflection can help us recognize patterns in the kinds of interactions that enhance our energy versus those that deplete it. Over time, we can use these reflections to guide future choices, naturally gravitating toward commitments that support our well-being. 2. Set a social budget for the month. Social health experts recommend setting a monthly social budget to prevent overcommitting. Dr. Helen Fisher, an anthropologist specializing in social behaviors, advises designating a limited number of social outings per month. Much like financial budgeting, setting boundaries around social engagements can help us become more selective. This approach allows us to intentionally choose the events that align with our interests while preventing social burnout. 3. Use a pause and evaluate rule. When receiving an invitation, productivity experts like Dr. Laura Vanderkam suggest implementing a pause and evaluate rule. Instead of accepting on the spot, take time to consider whether the event aligns with your values and goals. Specialists say this brief pause gives us space to evaluate the potential commitment thoughtfully, rather than saying yes out of impulse or habit. By creating a buffer, we're more likely to make decisions that support our priorities. 4. Identify your social purpose. Sociologists and life coaches often recommend defining a social purpose, a personal mission for how we want to engage socially. Psychologist Dr. Susan Jeffers encourages clients to write down 3 guiding principles for social interactions, such as spend time with those who inspire me or engage in activities that promote personal growth. This purpose acts as a filter, helping us determine which invitations are worth our time and energy. 5. Rehearse saying no with empathy. Many of us struggle with saying no because we worry about hurting others' feelings. Communication experts, like Dr. Marshall Rosenberg, who developed nonviolent communication, suggest practicing empathetic ways of saying no. Try statements like, "I appreciate the invitation, but I need to prioritize some rest this weekend." By acknowledging the other person's invitation, while standing firm in our boundaries, we can respectfully decline and reduce the likelihood of guilt or discomfort. Practicing empathetic refusals in advance helps build confidence, making it easier to say no without feeling defensive. These strategies from experts encourage us to make intentional, empowering choices in our social lives. By aligning our commitments with our well-being, we create a more fulfilling, balanced social landscape. The fourth thing to let go of is the relentless focus on physical appearance. Society has shaped us to believe that beauty equates to flawlessness and youth. For decades, we've absorbed messages telling us to erase any visible sign of aging, to chase unattainable ideals. But as we reach our 60s and beyond, we begin to see through this illusion. We realize that beauty is not a perfect complexion or a youthful silhouette. It's the richness of the lives we've lived, etched into every line and feature. Each wrinkle becomes a testament to years of laughter, worry, triumph, and growth. By the time we reach this stage, we have accumulated experiences that go far deeper than the surface. Our features reflect resilience and character, not simply age. The marks we carry are not flaws to conceal, but symbols of wisdom earned through challenges and milestones. This awareness brings a profound shift. We understand that we no longer need to conform to standards that never truly captured who we are. In letting go of the need to measure up, we reclaim the power to define our beauty on our terms. Our bodies become maps of our journeys, not objects to be judged. While caring for ourselves remains important, it is now a deeply personal and nurturing act, distinct from any desire to meet external expectations. Taking care of our health, staying active, and embracing wellness make us feel vibrant, but without the pressure to fit a mold. We can focus on feeling good in our skin, rather than obsessing over societal ideals that hold little meaning in our lives now. This shift from external validation to internal harmony allows us to prioritize comfort, health, and self-respect over comparison. True beauty lies in authenticity, in the courage to embrace each chapter with grace. With every line and every change in our bodies, we celebrate our lives as they are. There is a unique freedom in this acceptance, in releasing the burden of trying to meet someone else's standards. We stand liberated, more peaceful, and more fulfilled, simply by embracing the natural evolution of who we are. The fifth thing we may release as we grow older is the tendency to gather material possessions. Over the years, we often accumulate items, believing they add value or comfort, yet they can quietly clutter our spaces and minds. Many things we hold on to serve little purpose in our lives today, but we keep them out of habit or sentiment. As we choose to let go, we create room for the present, welcoming a simpler, more intentional life that centers on experiences rather than belongings. Letting go of these excess possessions becomes a way to honor who we are now. Sorting through what we've gathered over time, we realize that not everything we once valued fits the person we've become. Releasing the weight of objects we no longer need is not just about decluttering. It's about making space for our current needs and aspirations. Each item we let go of symbolizes a step toward redefining what truly brings joy and fulfillment to our lives. 5 strategies for embracing simplicity and letting go of excess. 1. Practice the December 12th 12 challenge monthly. Once a month, go through your home and find 12 items to donate, 12 items to throw away, and 12 items to return to their rightful place. Set a timer for 30 minutes to keep it quick and focused. This exercise helps identify and reduce clutter while organizing the space you already have. 2. Create a memory box with a limit. Designate one box for sentimental items, such as letters, photos, or keepsakes. Give yourself a limit on how much you'll keep, maybe a small box or a drawer, and choose only the most meaningful items to place inside. By keeping it contained, you preserve precious memories without allowing them to take over your space. 3. Start a 30-day, one item per day challenge. For a month, commit to letting go of one item each day. It can be as small as a kitchen utensil you never use, or an old book you don't plan to read again. Doing this daily, even for a few minutes, makes letting go a gradual, sustainable habit and helps you see how little you may actually need. 4. Set a clear purpose for each room. Walk through your home and decide on a clear purpose for each room or space. Then, remove any items that don't align with that purpose. For example, if the living room is meant for relaxation and socializing, move office papers or gym equipment elsewhere. This focus on purpose keeps each room uncluttered and intentional. 5. Host a clutter-free day with friends or family seasonally. Gather friends or family members and make a fun day of decluttering together every season. You can swap items, share stories, and help each other decide what to keep or let go of. This supportive environment makes the process enjoyable and adds accountability to help everyone move closer to a simpler, clutter-free life. With each possession released, a sense of clarity and lightness fills our homes, our thoughts, and our hearts. Suddenly, the empty spaces feel alive, and the freedom we gain lets us focus on what truly matters. Moments spent with loved ones, the laughter and warmth we share, and the contentment of living simply. In freeing ourselves from the grip of material things, we reclaim the power to choose presence over possessions and find satisfaction in the richness of genuine connections. This shift from material accumulation to mindful living brings freedom, a sense of ease as we walk forward unburdened. We realize that our worth is not tied to what we own, but to how fully we live each day, rooted in connection and purpose. By letting go, we trade the weight of excess for the freedom to live deeply, embracing simplicity and appreciating what matters most. Number 6. Letting go of toxic relationships is a profound act of self-care, especially as we age. Over the years, many of us grow accustomed to certain people, friends, family members, colleagues, without realizing the toll their presence takes on our emotional and mental well-being. In some cases, we cling to these relationships out of habit or a misplaced sense of obligation, despite feeling drained, undervalued, or even disrespected. At this stage in our lives, we owe it to ourselves to look critically at the people we surround ourselves with and recognize which relationships nourish us and which only bring stress, negativity, or discomfort. Often, toxic relationships linger because we fear disappointing others or disrupting social norms. However, prioritizing our happiness and mental health isn't selfish, it's essential. By choosing to walk away from relationships that consistently make us feel small, hurt, or burdened, we are giving ourselves the freedom to grow and thrive. Whether it's a friend who constantly sows negativity, a family member who repeatedly criticizes, or an acquaintance who simply drains our energy, we do not owe anyone the right to make us feel diminished. This decision is an affirmation of our own worth and a commitment to protecting our inner peace, which becomes increasingly important as we focus on creating a life that feels fulfilling and balanced. Choosing to surround ourselves with positive, supportive people can transform our outlook and elevate our daily experience. Those who uplift us, respect us, and understand us add genuine value to our lives. It's these relationships that fuel our joy and provide a sense of security, allowing us to be fully ourselves without fear of judgment or criticism. With this mindset, we consciously make room for individuals who share our values and bring lightness into our lives. As we move forward, we find that we have no room for the relationships that once weighed us down. Instead, we welcome connections that help us feel valued, cherished, and truly understood. Life is far too precious to waste on connections that don't bring positivity and peace. By releasing these burdens, we can fully invest in relationships that nurture us and bring us joy. This isn't a decision made lightly or without compassion. It's a deeply caring choice for ourselves. In doing so, we cultivate an environment filled with supportive, kind people who truly deserve our time and energy, allowing us to enjoy the journey with a sense of contentment and without regret. The 7th thing we need to release is the habit of comparing our lives to others. From childhood, society tells us what success should look like. We're shown images, stories, and standards that often don't reflect our own experiences. When we measure ourselves by these standards, it's easy to feel inadequate. We look around and see others who seem to have achieved more or lived better. But these comparisons rarely tell the whole story. They distract us from our own journey and rob us of joy. Each of us has a unique path. Our lives are filled with challenges, accomplishments, and lessons that are ours alone. There is no universal timeline for success or happiness. Some of us reach milestones quickly, others take longer. It's all part of what makes our stories unique. Comparing ourselves to others blinds us to our own progress. It makes us forget what we've overcome and accomplished. Life is not a race, but a personal journey. When we focus on others, we lose sight of the value in our own lives. By letting go of comparison, we make space for gratitude. We begin to see the richness of our own experiences. Each achievement, each lesson, each moment of joy belongs uniquely to us. Our success doesn't need to look like anyone else's. What matters is that we're true to ourselves. When we stop comparing, we find freedom. We stop striving for a version of happiness that isn't ours. Instead, we honor the path we've walked, with all its ups and downs. Now is the time to appreciate what we've lived. This is our story, and it's worth celebrating. By letting go of comparison, we embrace our own lives fully. We learn to cherish our journey, with all its beauty and imperfections. There is no better life to live than our own. The eighth thing to release is the relentless pursuit of goals that no longer serve us, especially those that were never truly ours to begin with. Many of us have spent years striving for achievements shaped by society's standards, family expectations, or even by dreams we set in our younger years when our understanding of fulfillment was still evolving. Some of these goals were well-intentioned, but outdated or misaligned with our current selves. With time, we gain clarity, realizing that not every ambition is essential, and that some goals may have transformed into burdens. These outdated pursuits drain us, not because we lack perseverance, but because they no longer reflect who we've become. Now, after 61, it's an ideal time to reevaluate and discern which goals remain meaningful. Releasing irrelevant or unattainable goals isn't about giving up. It's about choosing wisely where to invest our energy and time. Clinging to goals that have lost their relevance only traps us in cycles of frustration, especially when they don't bring fulfillment or joy. The power lies in understanding that wisdom sometimes requires us to let go, to adapt, and to realign with values that now resonate deeply. Achievements that once seemed pivotal may no longer hold the same significance, and that's okay. We find wisdom in change, in adapting to what brings peace, rather than adhering to old ambitions out of habit. There's liberation in realigning our focus to pursuits that truly matter. Meaningful goals often look different. They don't have to be grand or groundbreaking. For some of us, it's about nurturing simple joys, spending more time with loved ones, exploring a hobby, or focusing on health and well-being. These are the quiet, personal goals that enhance our daily lives, offering satisfaction and peace. Rather than chasing external markers of success, we're now drawn to pursuits that resonate within, that bring calm and contentment. What we seek is not to impress or prove, but to live in ways that honor our true selves. The final thing to let go of is the guilt that comes from putting our own happiness first. Throughout our lives, we've devoted ourselves to others, supporting loved ones, meeting expectations, and placing their needs ahead of our own. This has been an act of love, but somewhere along the way, we may have forgotten ourselves. We've sidelined our dreams, convinced that self-care was a luxury rather than a necessity. But as we reach a new chapter, especially after 61, it's time to release that guilt. Prioritizing our happiness isn't a selfish act. It's a meaningful way to respect all that we've given and to honor the person we are. Taking time to focus on what makes us happy doesn't erase our love or commitment to others. Rather, it allows us to nurture ourselves in ways that make us stronger and more present. When we think about our happiness, our dreams, desires, and ambitions, we open ourselves up to a life where joy is part of every day. What would our days look like if we prioritized activities, connections, and experiences that truly make us feel alive? Embracing this idea means finding a balance between caring for others and taking care of ourselves, and it's through this balance that we find fulfillment. When we release guilt, we lighten our hearts and gain a renewed sense of purpose. Free from the burden of shoulds, we can take steps toward what we genuinely want. It may feel unfamiliar at first, but choosing happiness is an act of self-love, a decision to live authentically. This doesn't mean turning away from others. It means enhancing our relationships by bringing a healthier, happier self to each one. As we grow into this new perspective, we see that our joy lifts those around us, making it easier to give and share without resentment or exhaustion. Life belongs to us, and we have the right to enjoy it. By putting our happiness in focus, we give ourselves permission to live fully, knowing that our well-being strengthens everything and everyone we care about. Happiness is not an indulgence, it's a foundation. When we let go of guilt, we open doors to a richer, more meaningful life, one where we celebrate who we are and embrace the path ahead with confidence and joy. After 61, life becomes our own again. We step away from expectations that never truly belong to us. Opinions lose their hold. We no longer strive to meet them. Instead, we focus on meaning over possessions, choosing joy over social obligations that don't lift us. This new phase offers freedom. We stop chasing perfect appearances or pouring energy into empty activities. Toxic relationships drift into the past, and comparisons fade into irrelevance. Old goals that only drained us lose their appeal. We're now guided by purpose, not pressure. In this lightened space, we find room for what truly matters. Without guilt, we center our own happiness. Shedding burdens opens us to living with intention and authenticity. It's a time of liberation, a return to what feels right, pure and real. We choose joy, clarity, and a deep connection with ourselves. With each step, we move closer to the life we deserve, fully alive, true to ourselves, choosing happiness as our guiding star.